Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to review a game called SUPERS, superhero role-playing game by Beyond Belief Games, written by Simon Washburn. The reason I'm reviewing this game is because I don't think it's getting a lot of the credit it deserves. I personally sort of disregarded the game myself when I first got it because it was fairly rules light. It was fun to read, it sounded interesting, but I just thought I needed something with more crunch. So when I was beginning to start my own superhero campaign, I went with another system that was much more crunchy. And a little way into it, I realized, you know what? A superhero game is about fast, panel-to-panel action, four-color excitement. It really isn't about calculating formulas and, min-maxing your character and trying to come up with the best way to do things. It's about getting together and creating a really exciting cinematic story. The game itself is a very generic superhero role-playing game. You can pretty much do anything with it. It is a little more four-color and lighthearted. It captures the feel more of like the Batman the Animated Series or Spectacular Spider-Man the Animated Series or the Justice League of America animated series than it does a lot of the more darker, hardcore, modern comic books. If you like Spawn, Punisher, darker things like that, this game might not fit that bill. But for just about anything else, you can make it work, and especially if you like a more light-hearted superhero game like animated cartoon series on TV. The book comes in a black and white 6x9 format from Cubical 7. The PDF is in full color, and the smaller page size and makes the font relatively larger, and it's really nice to read on e-readers or iPads like the one I'm shooting this review on. SUPERS would definitely be classified as rules light and narrative, but beyond that, there's still a lot of traditional role-playing aspects to it. You're rolling dice. In this case, they're dice pools of d6, which you're adding. You're comparing those to target numbers or opposed values. That's pretty much the core system. What a lot of people won't realize is they'll look at it and they'll see it as just rolling this die pool against this die pool, taking the higher number, and that one wins. And it's not really like that. That's where the narrative aspects to it come in. For example, if your character has ice powers at 4D, every time you use it, you're not going to be like, well, I'm going to use my ice powers. Let me roll my four, six-sided dice. What you're going to do is you're going to describe what you're doing. If someone's, coming at you and trying to, the Hulk is coming at you and punching you with your fist, you're going to use your ice powers. Before you roll the dice, you're going to decide how you're going to use it. Are you going to use your ice powers to create ice the Hulk is going to slip on and fall on his face? Or are you going to create a big ice cube around his fist so he can't lift it? Or are you going to, create a big ice wall between you and him? It's all about creating the comic book, and that's what makes this game so great. The game mechanics all revolve around die pool rolls. Roll the appropriate number of dice, add up the totals. For example, let's take Firefox. She's going to be fighting 8-Box. 8-Box declares he is using his super strength of 5D to throw a bus at Firefox. Now Firefox decides how to defend. She can use just about any ability she has as long as she can justify using it through narration. She could use her reaction resistance to say, I jump out of the way, or I dive through the window of the bus as it lands on me. She could use her flight power to fly out of the way, or to fly quickly around 8-Bot so he loses his concentration and drops the bus on himself. Maybe she uses her fire elemental form to flame up and incinerate the bus before it lands. Perhaps she uses fire elemental control to light the gas tank on fire, causing the bus to explode before it gets to her. Or maybe she just blasts it aside with a fireball, or builds an impenetrable wall of flame. You get the idea. With this, you use your narration to create a true four-color experience, but then use the dice to resolve the action. So okay, 8-Bot uses super strength to throw a bus at Firefox. He has 5D in super strength, so he grabs the dice, rolls them, and adds them up. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 points. Now Firefox decided to use her fire elemental control to blast the bus aside with a fireball. She rolls her 4 six-sided dice. She gets a 10, 11, 12. You then compare the damage roll, which was 18 in this case, with the defense roll, which was 12 in this case.
If the attack roll beats the defense roll, then you've done damage. If you succeed by up to 2 times the defense roll, you do 1 point. Up to 3 times, 2 points. Up to 4 times, 3 points, etc., etc. Or, if your brain doesn't work that way, you can make a cheat sheet like the one I'm showing you right here.
Each point of damage is 1 die that comes off the character's resistances. Once one of these resistances is reduced to 0, the character is either knocked unconscious or a gibbering idiot or out of the fight in one way or another. So what are some of the things that you're going to like about this game? First of all, it's very easy to learn and to teach. Like I said before, it takes about a half hour to read through the entire rule book, and it takes about 10 minutes to make a character, and it takes about that long to explain to players. So even if your players don't like to read rule books or don't want to learn the rules, they can sit down at the table, tell you what kind of character they want, have it done in 10 minutes, be playing the exact kind of character they want, and know how to use the rules. Second, it's very GM friendly. It's easy for the GM to learn and use. You probably won't even have to crack the rulebook open once while you're playing the game. Creating supervillains is a breeze. Again, it takes about 10 minutes, just like the heroes, so that's easy. And the mook rules are even easier because mooks just simply get a rating. The weakest mook's rating is 1. So if you have a group of 5 mooks, the rating for that group of mooks is 5. You don't roll dice for them or anything. Just 5 is their rating for everything they would roll, and 5 is their hit points. The other thing that's really nice about this game is because it has a good solid core mechanic, like a lot of old school games, you can add house rules or add rules to it very easily without changing that much or breaking anything. In my case, I like to use miniatures, and since this game is narrative, it doesn't have any miniature aspects to it at all. But in about 2 pages, I wrote miniature rules that coincide with the rules, fit with it, provide a different tactical level to combat, but don't make the game very much more complicated at all. So this game is perfect, right? Well, no, there are a few problems with it, or things that potentially could make it not work for you. First, if your group isn't into any kind of narration at all, the game could be a little dull. If all your characters want to do every time they attempt to do something is pick up some dice and roll them and read the results, the game might not work. It's very much about getting in the role of the character and wanting to actually create that comic book and come up with exciting and thrilling things for your character to do. Also, the rules aren't perfect. You know, by their very nature being rules light, there are going to be a lot of little holes and a lot of things that need little fixes. If you're a GM that needs a rule for everything, you're going to have problems with this. If you're a GM that can't come up with, you know, little fixes on the fly and be able to sleep at night, it might be a potential problem. Or if you like crunchy rule systems, you probably won't like this at all. Other than that, so superheroes, 4-colored, lighthearted, action, narrative, die mechanics. It's got everything that I need in a superhero game, and I hope you check it out. I give it 2 big thumbs up. But don't take my word for it. Ask this guy what he has to say.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how those other guys online make those reviews look so easy. It's pretty hard.